Welcome back to The Drop, a podcast exploring the seen and the unseen, the known and the unknown, and all of the liminal spaces in between. My name is Claire. I'm a shadow worker, Akashic Records reader, and massage therapist, and we are here today wrapping up this series on the Demiurge, the Demiurgic energies that are in a lot of our systems, a lot of our beliefs and practices, and as we sort of dove into last week, in ourselves as well. Before we drop in to that, I do want to give a few updates, things that I'm excited about, things that I am doing. So I will start with one. I'm not great about talking myself up or, the things that I do, the things that I offer. And so I'm going to say this. If you're not inside of Shadow Maven, you're missing out. There is so much in there that is deeply, deeply helpful, supportive, and moving of energy that keeps us trapped and stuck in demiurgic systems, in systems of suffering. And I don't know. That space is like my baby, and I'm really proud of it. I'm blown away by the shifts that I see within people that, utilize the meditations and the healings that are inside there. So if you have been looking for a space to really dive into the shadow work, I cannot recommend it enough. We will be having our, third group clearing and healing session on the 19th, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, diving into forward movement, really igniting the fire within you, that creative energy. So we'll be clearing out stuff that is keeping you, maybe in a state of brain fog, keeping you in a freeze state of, just not moving forward with all the ideas, all the plans, all the things that you have inside of you, so that you can really, really tap into your creative fire and move and make the things, share the things, do the things that you came to this earth to do. So you can join Shadow Maven, monthly. You can pay for the whole year. You can just drop into the one session. There are so many options. And again, if you're not in it, you're missing out. And I just, with a whole heart and open arms, welcome you into that space if you have been feeling the call. Secondly, this month, April, will be the last month that I will be onboarding any new Threshold Private Mentorship clients, as I will be traveling a lot through September and October in the fall. So it won't be until November that I will start taking on new clients for that space, because most clients typically end up doing a session every other week. So we are in session for 2 hours at a time. It's 11 sessions total. And then I am supporting you in between sessions. We're checking in with one another. I'm energetically supporting you, dropping into your Akashic in between sessions, helping to move energy that you are maybe releasing, purging, shifting in between sessions. I'm sending tailored meditations and healing processes to you to work through in between. And it's very intensive. If you choose to be, not every client chooses that. It's a funny thing. Some people are deep, deep in it. We're talking every day. Other clients I don't hear from as often. And so it is very much up to you. However, it's very important to me that I can be fully present and focused. Which is why I won't be onboarding any new people after the end of this month. Maybe as like a case-by-case basis, if you are someone that feels like you want to meet once a week. 11 weeks in total rather than doing, just a meeting twice a month. So that I can be present, I can be focused, and I won't be traveling during that time together within that container. So if this has been calling to you, please book in a consultation with me so that we can chat, we can get an idea of what's going on, and just really make sure that it's a good fit for both of us. Thirdly, I'm offering in-person sessions in Denver now, and I am just, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful. I'm so excited. I offered my first one at the very end of March, and it was incredible. I cannot wait to offer more. Right now, it will be the same thing, the echoes of the soul. So, some form of past life exploration and healing, or, maybe a more underworld journey format, but, really diving deep into the subconscious and moving some energy and coming up from that and integrating it, embodying it, grounding it through dance that I lead you through. And it just, it's incredible. It's incredible. So if you're in Denver, in the Denver area, I would love to see you there. I will be announcing soon the next April session that I will be holding. So that is it in terms of updates from me. So let's take a deep breath and drop into the topic of unplugging the Demiurge from the system and looking a bit more into energetically what that looks like, what that, energetic system looks like within our own systems, what it's like as you're unplugging from it, because it is a lot. So breathe in and let's do it. In the last episode, I discussed what this system looks like in our relationships and our friendships, how we speak to ourselves, how we approach sex, how we approach life, how we approach so many things. And as I said, this system is very hierarchical. It's very manipulative. It's very extractive. It's illusionary. It's vile, really. And like I said, when you start looking at where and how these systems operate within you, how they show up, it's very important to look at that, from a space of neutrality, from a space of compassion for yourself, because we're born into this system, it's part of us. But as you wake up, as you start to see things, as you start to read between the lines, as you clear away the smoke and mirrors, as you see beyond the mask of things, you can start to really see like, oh, that isn't me. That's like implanted, that is an energetic system and code that has been woven into my true essence and expression that is not organic, is not true, and doesn't belong there anymore. So I want to share energetically, how I see this operating in people, so like in clients in session, and how it affects you in a more subtle way than just, outwardly in our relationships and how we operate in the world. So when I see this, one thing that I've seen time and time and time again is this gross, nasty, tar-like energy that wraps itself around people's spines, essentially, especially like the mid-back, so around the solar plexus, around the heart, and moving up sort of into the cervical spine. This keeps people in a space of fear, a space of lack, a space of unworthiness, a space where they're just giving and giving and giving and allowing themselves to be taken advantage of. They don't see their true nature. They don't see their capability, their potential, their own power. And so it's just siphoning off energy. It's keeping you in this space of undeserving, of, maybe I'm not good enough, I'm not strong enough, not believing in yourself. And yeah, it just keeps you in this spiral of keeping you trapped. It tells this lie, this story, that if you depart from it, so maybe it's a structure, maybe it's a job, maybe it's a relationship, a friendship, even just, the way that you relate to yourself, then you will not survive without it. And when I start to pull this energy out of people, once we understand how it got rooted there in the first place, like what is the belief that you've kind of entered into within yourself that allows it to breed, live, thrive within your system, it doesn't want to leave. It's often quite a bit of a fight because it's literally being pulled away from its host. It's being pulled away from its food source. And so it's not easy, but when it comes out, the fire that lights up in people is incredible. The way that they are finally able to see their soul and their true essence is incredible. Their ability to breathe deeply, like they're breathing deeper than they ever have before, right? They have finally a sense of who they are. And it's like, it's a remembered sense because this system is just it's a system of suppression. It's a system of forgetfulness. It's a system of separation from yourself, from your soul, and from spirit. And when you can reconnect with that, you see all that you are. You see all that you're capable of. And you can really start to move in that energy rather than from this space of separation and suffering and scarcity and fear. I see a lot of this energy, again, like in people's hearts, and more specifically when it's in their hearts, it is keeping them again in a space of separation, in a space of, kind of oscillating on the periphery, but never going into the circle of connection, never being able to fully open themselves, their hearts up to joy, to love, to connection, to deep relationship with others, maybe in their community, maybe in a romantic way. And so it's just, keeping them isolated. And in my opinion, we should just be operating from our heart at all times. So operating from a space of love, from a space of compassion and understanding. That doesn't mean bending over and just, being a doormat, but operating from love. Anytime I go into session, anytime I go on a mind journey, anytime I even just drop into meditation, I'm dropping into my heart. And I've realized how difficult it is for so many people to access their heart space, because all of these vines, these just energetic vines full of thorns, full of cold, full of emptiness, have just woven their way through people's hearts. And it is this demiurgic energy that has woven into it to, again, just keep people separated, keep people from seeing their full capacity to love and to be loved. And then also, of course, in the headspace, you might get a download, you might channel through these ideas, but then as soon as you try to enact them, as soon as you try to move into action, it's just like confusion, brain fog, exhaustion. And it is keeping you from doing what you're here to do. It is keeping you from manifesting and moving your ideas, your downloads, your own personal codes of healing, of joy, of curiosity and compassion and love into the physical and sharing it with the world. I truly believe each and every person has certain codes, certain energy, certain frequencies, harmonics, however you want to look at it, that they are meant to share with the world. And when you start noticing, when you have these ideas, maybe it's art, maybe it's music, maybe it's a poem, maybe it's just something you want to post and share. Maybe it's, just words that you feel compelled to share with someone, a stranger, a friend. But when you come up to the threshold, to that precipice of sharing it, it just all goes away. It is all this dense, nasty, sticky energy that I see inside of people that are keeping their voices, their thoughts, their expression suppressed. And again, we drop in, we go back, we look and see where in your soul's journey and your soul's history did this first enter? Where is the root? And we start to move that energy from the root cause, from the root place. We see where it really anchored in. We see how it affects you, how it's still affecting you. And we begin to move it out so that you have a clear channel connected to your soul's brightest expression, connected to your higher self, connected to spirit, so that you can be guided from that higher perspective, from that organic space of original consciousness, rather than this artificial space, this space of artificial life and thought and action. And then we have the womb space, the sacral space. This kind of also goes into the root space, but I spoke briefly in the last episode about how this demiurgic energy really, really operates, especially within the sexual spaces. And it is really nasty. It's really nasty because, our womb space, the sacral space, isn't only, our space of sexual expression, our space of sensuality and sexuality. It's also our space of creation. It's that space holds so much power. It holds so much power. It is the space of creation, whether that be on a physical level, in terms of creating life through having children, or like where we form what it is we are creating. The womb space, the sacral space, to me is the cauldron. And this space is one of the first spaces to be attacked. We, of course, see and know how sex has been distorted and used as a tool of control and manipulation. It has been used as a tool of dominance. It has been used in a way that has completely shattered people. I've had my own experiences with this, on a physical level. But it's also used as a tool of exploitation, manipulation, and control and dominance in an energetic way as well. And so, I don't know, this probably deserves an episode of its own. But what I have seen energetically corded into people's root and sacral and womb spaces is, it's despicable. And it is absolutely a space, of course, our solar plexus, our heart, our throat, our crown, our mind, those are intensely important places. Those are places that when they are distorted and when they are under attack by this energy, it keeps us out of our bodies. It keeps us out of our sovereignty. It keeps us isolated and out of spaces of love and connection and compassion. But the womb and the root spaces, holy shit, is that really the space that keeps us out of body, in a space of absolute fear, in a space of absolute lack and just overall disconnection. And again, it breaks my heart. It also makes me so angry. And so something here to start reclaiming all of these spaces is to start connecting with them. I know I say it over and over and over again, but get back into your body. Start to foster that energetic awareness of yourself, of these different spaces within your physical form. And slowly you'll start to recognize what is yours and what is not. And it is in session where we can really begin to start moving it out. Like I've said probably multiple times just in this episode as is, we see the root of it. We see the original anchor point. We see the wound that it's attaching to. And we start to work through it and move it out. And as always, the first step of that is awareness. And so really bringing that energetic awareness to what's going on within you, because you're not just a physical being, just as you're not just an energetic being. You are multifaceted and multidimensional. When you start to move this out, as I was explaining, with the energy that I see wrapped around so many people's spines, it does not leave without a fight. And even then, when it is removed, it very much tries to fight back. It tries to worm its way back into your system. And so it's very important to be aware of that, because I find that a lot of people think like, oh, I just did this clearing session, like I'm free, I'm done. And that isn't necessarily the case. This system is aggressive. It loses its food, its energy source, its life when it is removed from organic, life-supporting beings. And so, of course, it's going to try to find a way back in. It's going to try to find a way to, plug back in, basically, through residual wounding, through new wounding, so like just because you've worked through one layer of wounding and like can close that chapter, you're still alive. You're still going to experience wounding. It might be even the same sort of wounding. It might not cut quite as deep because you are in a new, more fortified, grounded space, but you're still going to experience it. And so being really aware of what's going on, after you've moved some of this demiurgic energy out is very important. And so I'm going to give a couple of examples of what I've seen and experienced in terms of, all right, we've moved a big chunk of this out, like it's not in your system anymore, but then when it tries to get back in. So I was working with a client in the Threshold membership. We had concluded that container, and the amount of things that we worked through was intense. It was incredible. And by the end, this person was just in their power, right? Like they were standing in their spiritual agency. And a few weeks later, they were feeling a lot of interference, essentially. So tiredness, brain fog, exhaustion, a lot of really, really strange, like ailments and stuff. And so they booked in an Akashic session, to just, like, they needed some support. And what I saw in that space was essentially this tiny, tiny, tiny remnant of doubt about themselves, about their own power, their abilities, their, just a tiny, tiny, tiny little piece of doubt. And around them, they had a very, very strong energetic boundary, a very, very strong aura. So this energy couldn't necessarily get into their system, but it was around this system. And that tiny, tiny kernel of doubt was sort of like a magnet, of this energy trying to get back in. So it was essentially blocking out organic, like life source energy and like causing all of these strange things to happen. So when I moved out that last tiny little remnant of doubt from their system, I was then able to clear, all of this external stuff that had sort of clouded around them and was, blocking out the allegorical sun, if you will. That energy was coming directly from these demiurgic systems that I've been talking about, so it's not coming from a person or anything like that. It was just literally the energy itself trying to weasel itself back in and, find itself a home again. I have been dealing with something for a while now. And this is an example of the Demiurgic system working through someone. So this person is just a deep, deep host. Excuse me. To this energy system that I've been discussing over the past several weeks and months. And I have been going through these processes of clearing out the karma, ending the cycles, removing the hooks, the dark spell work, to be very frank. And, the psychic attacks, everything. Each time I go through a deep clearing, so clearing out another layer, deeper and deeper layers of this, I experience almost an immediate backlash. And where I'm exhausted, where I have so much brain fog, I can't even form a coherent sentence. And I have to look back in my system of okay, here's another implant, here's another set of coding, here's another belief system that has kind of tangled itself up within myself that I have to work through. Here's kind of another beacon in which this person or thing is, having some traction within my system that's trying to pull me back into these loops that I've been clearing and working through. And so I'm sharing this because, one, it's hard. It's hard and it's annoying and it's exhausting, and this system has weaseled itself into deep layers of all of us. And it takes time, it takes a lot of awareness, and it takes a lot of commitment, because it's really easy. It's if I do this, then I'm going to be seen. And then it's going to try again to get back, to try to exhaust me, to try to throw me off my path or this or that. And I'm not saying this in a way of to be paranoid or to be scared or whatever, but I'm saying this because it takes effort. If you want to see change in your life, if you want to break free of this system, you have to commit. You have to be really grounded in it, and every day see yourself in the light of all that you are. Every day see your connection to spirit, to source, and to just ground again and again and again into that, because it will fall away. You are capable of disengaging this artificial system from yourself so that you can return to just true organic life. It takes commitment. It takes strength. It takes support. I've not been able to do this alone because, again, it's just, oh my God, deep in there. So if you're finding yourself kind of in this process, in this spiral of completing one layer, clearing one layer, and then it's oh, I'm back here again, don't give up. This stuff anchors, I just keep saying it over and over, but it anchors deeply in the system, and it keeps trying to get back in once you clear a layer. It's going to keep trying to get back in, because as you remove layer after layer, you are weakening its power source. You're unplugging it from your system. Do not give up. Do not yield, to sound really melodramatic about it. Because the more you clear out, the less footholds it has, the less space it has, the more shored up your energetic boundary becomes. So there aren't cracks. You're not just bleeding out energy, but there's not a little window cracked open where it can squirm back in. So to wrap all of this up, to begin detaching this from your system, awareness needs to be brought to the forefront, right? It needs to be brought into consciousness. So in the last episode, talking, observing, looking at how you interact with yourself, with others, in all parts of your life, where you see forms of manipulation, control, extraction existing. Secondly, really becoming aware of your own energy. What energetic practices do you have? I am clearing and realigning myself all day, every day. And being able to discern what is yours versus what isn't, because so much of what isn't, especially with the Demiurgic shit, it mimics our own thoughts. It mimics our own energy. It mimics energy that we think should be good. So, maybe your guides, your angels. It shows up in certain healers, in facilitators, in certain spaces. And again, I'm not saying this to be paranoid about everything, but get real with, are you aware of what your own energy looks, feels, sounds like? Are you aware of what true organic life source energy, connected to source, spirit, God, goddess, whatever you call it, what that looks and feels like? Learning that. And if you are someone that works energetically, that is already aware, start moving it, start detaching it. If you need help with that, Shadow Maven is a great place to start. Working with me in the Threshold Mentorship is a great place to really drop in. And not giving up. The stuff doesn't go out without a fight. It doesn't leave easily. I was in a session just the other day looking at where a person's soul had been fragmented, taken out of their system, and replaced with truly just some of the nastiest, most disgusting things I had ever seen. And we got to the root of it. I saw when it happened. I saw the being that had held this piece of this person's soul trapped. We were finally able to move the nasty entities out, clear that space, and I walked into truly this just hellscape to retrieve this part of the soul, And as I was walking out, a guide was there sort of walking me through this, and they were just anchor into all that you are. Anchor into source, into spirit. Do not turn around. Do not look back. Just keep walking out. And I walked out and reintegrated this piece of the soul with this person, their entire energetic system recalibrated. And at the end of the session, their guides, their higher self, they were just yes, finally, you've gotten it back after years and years of battling through this. allow it to settle, but be aware that like there's going to be some backlash. There's going to be some attempts of this energy trying to get back into the system, because it just, it doesn't go down without a fight. So again, I'm not saying that to scare you, but like believe in yourself. You are strong enough. And there are people out there like me that are here to help you, that are here to support you, that are here to prop you up when you're too exhausted, because it gets exhausting. Oh my gosh, it gets exhausting. And you don't have to do it alone. So, I think this concludes this series. I'm sure I'll have more to say about it later. But I believe, yes, that's it for now. So if you've made it all the way through, I really commend you. I appreciate you for being here. I know I don't always explain things in the clearest, easiest ways. I'm trying really hard to, my mind just goes all over the place and in circles. But yeah, thank you for being here. And I hope that your journey to returning to yourself, to your soul's highest expression, is just beautiful and abundant and freeing. And if you need support, I am here. I've committed my life to helping people return and be free and be liberated and not live under the constraints, not be siphoned from, not be manipulated, so that they can walk in their soul's highest and brightest expression and essence. So please reach out if you have questions, if you want to talk, or if you want to enter the Threshold Mentorship, because this is where this work is done. So until next time, bye for now.